it's hard to make sense of it, to argue that there's some coherent strategy behind what he's doing. I mean, what's going on here is that Trump is in a disastrous situation. He's gotten himself into a war that he cannot win in any meaningful way. He can't find an off-ramp where he can say that we have been even semi-successful. We're going to suffer a significant, if not catastrophic, defeat in Iran. It's quite clear that the Iranians are in the driver's seat. All of this is to say that he made a huge blunder entering into this war. And as a result, he's flailing around. He's blaming other people. He's lashing out at other countries. He's making policy statements, for example, with regard to North Korea, that make no sense at all. So President Trump is in deep trouble, and this is just a manifestation of that.
What did he say about North Korea?
Oh, he's trying to kiss up to North Korea now.
North Korea, not South Korea. North Korea.
No, he's actually kicking. He's kicking the South Koreans, our allies, in the shins, and at the same time playing up to the North Koreans. And you remember he tried to have good relations with Kim Jong-un and the North Koreans in his first administration, and he was bent on denuclearizing North Korea. The chances of that happening are zero. But anyway, it didn't happen, of course, in his first term. And now he's angry at the South Koreans. And one of the reasons, by the way, is that he asked the South Koreans for help in the Gulf, in the war against Iran. And the South Koreans wisely said they wanted no part of this escapade. That angered him. And to get back at the South Koreans, he's done two things. One, he's playing nice again with the North Koreans. And secondly, we have a major joint operation that is now taking place with the South Koreans. And he has significantly reduced the scope of that joint operation with South Korea because he doesn't want to offend or scare the North Koreans. This is just not the way you treat allies. And by the way, if you put this into a broader context, the United States is deeply interested in containing China. And to do that, we need all the help we can get from the South Koreans, especially since we're pivoting away from East Asia to the Persian Gulf. You know, this whole disaster with the USS Abraham Lincoln that has led us to pull the Lincoln out of the Gulf means we have to replace it with a new aircraft carrier. And the new aircraft carrier that they're going to replace the Lincoln with is the USS George Washington. Where is that coming from? It's coming from Japan. Its home port is Japan. Wow. And we're going to get a situation now where we have no carriers in East Asia. And you want to understand that East Asia is a theater that depends heavily on air power and naval power. And we've already pulled all sorts of THAADs, Patriots out of East Asia. And here we are now pulling the only carrier we have out there out of East Asia. And at the same time, President Trump is kicking the South Koreans in the shins. And the South Koreans, by the way, are among our most loyal allies. So this makes no sense at all, just like it makes no sense to be threatening to attack Oman.
Oh, but Professor Mearsheimer, the reports of problems on the USS Abraham Lincoln, that's all fake news, according to the president. We'll play his clip in a minute. But before the Abraham Lincoln departs, wherever it is, lacking in deodorant and toothpaste and food, it managed to give everybody on board a scoop of ice cream, as if there were puppy dogs that were misbehaving. So you're going to give them ice cream. That's the way Hegseth treats his troops. Here's President Trump on this yesterday. Chris, cut number 10.
That was a CNN fake report. The Lincoln has been out there for a period of time, good period of time. But over the years, we've had them out there much longer. I was at a group meeting, and an admiral came up to see me over the weekend. And it was at a big group, and he happened to be an admiral retired. He said, I've been on ships that are out there much longer than that, sir. And I know people on the Lincoln, they say it's beautifully maintained and beautifully taken care of. And other people went out and they found out to be true. It was fake news reporting from CNN.
Well, they had 7 suicide attempts, 2 of which didn't succeed, but they did jump off the ship and were transported to naval mental institutions in San Diego. Have you ever heard of anything like this in your years in the military?
Well, no, but what's really shocking is the comments that President Trump just made. They're at complete odds with hard facts. There's just no question that the conditions on the Lincoln were abysmal, and we know what the reason is for that. And we know that there is a lot of evidence of fights among the sailors, that some sailors were threatening to jump off the side of the ship and possibly commit suicide. I mean, the evidence is just overwhelming.
Is one of the reasons for all of these problems that their home port, the place where they would go, I guess, for R&R and to get supplies in Bahrain, was destroyed by the Iranians in response to our bombing of Tehran? Do I have that right?
Yes, there's no question about that. That is not the only cause of the trouble, but it is the principal cause, in my opinion. The Fifth Fleet headquarters were in Bahrain, which is obviously inside the Persian Gulf. And you're not going to take an aircraft carrier into the Persian Gulf. And it's hard to get supplies from Bahrain out to the Lincoln and the other ships as well. It's not just the Lincoln that has this problem. Other ships have the problem as well. So what we had to do was we had to rely on Diego Garcia, which is many thousands of miles away, to serve as a supply port in place of Bahrain. And that just did not work very well. And when you take that fact and you marry it to the fact that this ship was deployed for a long, long period of time, you have a prescription for real trouble, and you had real trouble. And Trump really didn't have much choice but to keep the carrier there. I mean, we don't have a very large Navy anymore. This is not like the Navy that existed right after World War II, or even the Navy that existed in the 1980s when the Reagan administration was emphasizing the importance of the maritime strategy and having a 600-ship Navy. Those days are gone. So we have a very small Navy. And as somebody in the Wall Street Journal commented, we used to have 15 carriers. We now have 11 carriers. And we operate those 11 carriers as if we had a 15-carrier Navy. This is to say we have the pedal to the metal with the Navy, and we're running the Navy into the ground. And by the way, just to switch gears slightly here, you know, the administration is now relying on a naval blockade to throttle the Iranian economy, bring the Iranians to their knees, get them to surrender to us. Well, naval blockades by definition are protracted processes, right? You have to have a blockade on for a long period of time to bring another country to its knees. And the question you have to ask yourself is, given the state of the U.S. Navy, is it in shape for a protracted blockade? Can we keep a blockade on for months and months and months? I think the answer is no.